Hi, this is Phil, and I'm here to tell you all about the Capes and Lunatics Patreon. Don't miss out on our comic book creator interviews, including our monthly Chichester chats with comic book legend DG Chichester, superhero movie brackets in our search for the worst comic book movie of all time, and many, many more specials, all completely uncensored. Access starts for $3 a month, full video when you pledge $5 a month. Check out the link in our show notes or go to patreon.com/CapesandLunatics. Hope to see you there.
In a world of capes and lunatics, gods and monsters, there is a place called Jersey City where a new brand of hero rises. Her name is Ms. Marvel, and she is here to avenge us all. Ms. Marvel, Season 1, Episode 2, Crushed. Kamala and Bruno explore the source of her newfound powers just in time for a perilous adventure. Mira Menon is our director this week. Bisha K. Ali, again, gets that created for television by credit. Kate Gritman gets our written by. Will Dunn and Sophie Miller, once again, are our story editors. And the hardest working ladies in show business, that is Aisha Bori and Kate Gritman, are staff writers on this show. G. Willow Wilson and Adrian Alfona are our creators of Kamala Khan and Ms. Marvel. And actually, yes, and to just give a quick shout out to our guidance counselor, Gabe Wilson, who is, of course, our stand-in for G. Willow Wilson, the creator of The Feast.
One of the best characters on the show. In a show full of really good characters.
He is. And I like when he's saying, hey, I'm not Mr. Wilson, I'm Gabe. Mr. Wilson was my father, who was also
gay too, but
so,
no, but he
makes
a
great
guidance counselor. He seems like he really cares about the kids. And he likes his job. He's happy doing his job. It's really nice to see.
Yeah, well, you gotta be. You gotta be in that kind of work. You're working with kids, and you're working at. This is a magnet high school, by the way. This is the Coles Academic Academy, which means this is actually intended to be a school for the smart kids. So that is cool, and I'm glad they got into it. Although, Kamala's kind of a genius in the comics, so I know they want to have Bruno be the genius, but I think that they could do a little better with her grades. But I guess they want her to be more flighty in this, more head in the clouds kind of stuff, because obviously she is intense about her passions,
right?
But she could get better grades too.
Well, but it's one thing it's more relatable, for the kids. We have enough child geniuses all up and down Marvel's roster. Let's have a real kid. Even Peter Parker, he's a high school kid, but he acts like a 30-year-old. You know what I mean? So it's nice to have a real kid having real kid problems. So I thought that was a good choice.
And this is a real kid, and this is,
right.
I like it. I like we get our training montage here, because it's like she's going to be a superhero.
Mm-hmm. And she needs to train. Hey, go.
Yes. And that's the thing. We have this training montage, and like you said, what's the matter, Ben? Yeah, I had to reboot the Wi-Fi, hon, so I'm using my phone. Yeah.
She does get pretty good at it.
Sorry, yeah.
Sliding off of the thing, jumping off, and being able to all the powers real well.
Well, exactly. I mean, she does. We get a believable growth for her.
Yeah.
You know, it's not a situation where she starts out, because even at the start of it, it's like, you know, making a light construct that doesn't crumble immediately, you know, and that's one thing she has. So it's like, not only does she have to learn to build up her physical prowess, she has to learn to think about how she's creating these light constructs, how she's using the light constructs, and how she's, you know, building out what she's doing. And so that's an important
focus
part
to keep them in a material form.
Yes.
Yes, and her attention, and it's there. If she loses a focus on one, it'll disappear. That's super dangerous.
Yeah, well, it is. It is. I like when she's walking in on the first day back after the event, and she is like just very much feeling herself. She corrects the gym teacher who's been mispronouncing her name forever, and you know, and just telling people to get out of her way. And she has that confidence and that strut that when we saw her at the start of the last episode, she just did not have. You know, and it is funny because nothing has really changed about her, except she has decided she's now a different person. You know,
and all those interactions go very differently. Mm-hmm. And it's just because of what she brought to the table, you know, and those kids who weren't moving out of her locker weren't doing it to be bullies or anything like that. They were just oblivious kids.
Exactly. It's over here. It needs to cool. Yeah, sorry, I kept on overheating. Okay, sorry guys.
And even with the guy doing the little basketball juke moves with her, you know, he's like, oh, okay, and all of a sudden it was a friendly interaction. It wasn't like a mean thing.
Yeah, because I don't think he was trying to be mean in the first place either. It's like just like the coach, he wasn't being insensitive. He just had been calling her a name that he felt more comfortable with, and no one corrected him.
Right.
And when he got the correction, he was like, "Oh, okay, thanks." You know, You know, it's like, "Oh, good to know." Okay, I will update my records accordingly. And that is the thing of it. And of course, Zoe is, you know, got 1 million more followers now, or 500,000 more followers, after her incident with Nightlight, which I do love.
I kind of like it.
I like it. It's cute, and it's, you know, it reminds me of Night Monkey from Spider-Man Far From Home. You know, just that we need to create like a new title for this character, and why not Nightlight? It works. But it is interesting how Zoe just very much makes it about her. And, you know, but again, why shouldn't she?
Yeah.
You know? That's where everything gets a little weird, because it's like, well, why shouldn't she make it about her? It's her telling the story about this event she had where she met this amazing person, Nightlight,
who saved her life.
Who saved her life, yes.
He nearly died. I mean, she's not wrong in saying it was a life-changing experience, you know?
I know.
I appreciate that they don't make her so much of a villain. She's just a kid. Mm-hmm. I like that they're not making her so unlikable. She's just, you know, mildly irritating, you know? So I thought that was like a nice bit of restraint there.
Yeah. You know what it is? She is a pretty popular girl, and it's not like she is using that popularity for any nefarious purposes, you know? She even, you know, when she bumps into Kamala in the first episode, you know, she's mad because someone just bumped into her, but then immediately she just walks it back and gives Kamala a compliment on her necklace, you know? And then Kamala is awkward, as she is, because she's an awkward teen girl. And Zoe's like, okay, you know, whatever, and goes about her business, you know? You know, it's neat that, you know, even when Kamran shows up and Zoe immediately invites the new kid at the class to her party. And, you know, I like that they all agree that, okay, we're all going to come together. We're all going to go to the party. And it becomes, you know, it's not like you can't come to my party. She's just very, everyone come to my party. It's cool, you know?
Yeah.
It's a fun party. That's what parties are for. And like I said, and again, it should be noted that this is a magnet high school, meaning that everyone here probably is a nerd to some extent. Yes, right. What is your question, Tristan? No, it's okay. Oh, because he said he couldn't, and he didn't try. This is why Homelander didn't carry the plane in the first season of The Boys. So that's he said he couldn't, and he makes an argument about the stresses on the metal. But at the end of the day, that's not necessarily a true statement. That maybe he could have done something. Maybe they could have saved the plane had he wanted to try, but he didn't try.
Yeah, and also I don't think he's smart enough to figure out how.
Yeah.
He's like, I'm not going to get this in the 5 minutes we have left.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and we see that just in the fact that he destroyed the cockpit, from the start. Because that's the thing. Like, I'm sure Maeve probably knows how to fly a plane. Had he not destroyed the cockpit, she probably could have landed the plane. That's just it is what it is. But anyway, that is a show we reviewed a while back, man. About 3 years ago, we did The Boys, and that was a fun show. But now we're doing Ms. Marvel. Nice, happy, wholesome entertainment from the good folks at Disney. Even though we do get a lot of Cameron with his shirt off. Yeah, and again, like I said, you get Bruno's discomfort with how everyone really likes Cameron, But at the same time, and again, Bruno, he's being a little petty, but no one is
a teenager.
Yeah, exactly. Everyone is just being a kid. Everyone is just being a young person, and that is, like you said, that's one of the most refreshing aspects of it. Even Nakia, our future
politician, a future board member of the mosque.
Yeah, even she is like, she's, and everyone knows that girl in high school who's very focused and very involved, and but it feels real. It feels honest, and it really works for this. Of course, there's the raid at the party. Now, I do find that interesting because, Damage Control shows up at the party. They know the party. Now, actually, the Damage Control didn't show up at the mosque yet. That's next episode.
No, it's episode 2 where they show up at the mosque.
Oh, they do show up at the mosque. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, because they are talking and they're like, so they call Zoe in. So Zoe thinks it's about the party. They did show up to the party. So they're talking to Zoe in interrogation and somehow suss out that she was probably of Middle Eastern descent, probably South Asian. So we should go monitor the mosques. Well, but be careful. The FBI is already watching them. I thought that was really funny.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. But we don't get that. We don't get that until the next episode.
No. In episode 2.
That's right. No. Because in this one,
I've only seen episode 1 and 2, and I remember the scene.
Oh, okay. So then that's right. I have to put all these back together in my head. That's right, because
then that's when they know to watch the mosque, and they're already observing, and when that moment happens.
Right, and for what it's worth, I like when he and again, just how, and the same thing they did in No Way Home, where they focus in on the person, put them at ease. We have her do the popcorn, from Zoe's
Insta,
yeah, and it's just it is very interesting. Yes, he even he said he's a fan of hers. Kids are so easy to manipulate. Anyway,
people are so easy to manipulate.
Yeah, that's true. But I really liked a lot in this episode, just because we get that training montage, we get the interactions with everyone, and I do like how it ends, because it ends with Damage Control coming after them, and then Kamran pulling up at the last minute saying, get in the car, and driving out and meeting Evil Auntie.
Or I think that's actually the great-grandmother.
Oh, you do?
I think so. Because in her vision, when she was like, she saw like the witch woman, and then she talks to the aunties at the Eid party, and they're like, oh yeah, she was like some witch, and she put curses on your great-grandmother. Aisha was like an evil witch or whatever. And so then she sees her in that vision at one moment when she's when she's sitting at the table, and she drops backwards and she sees that evil woman. And that's the same woman that was in the car. So I think that's Aisha, the great-grandmother, who has been alive this whole time, and she has some weird magic thing that's been keeping her alive. And it's funny enough, Kamran turns out to actually maybe be a cousin.
Yeah, well, there you go. Yes, and that was the other thing that we had there was the seeing cousin Kamran. Yeah.
Right. And what's cool is Taisha was hip to what was going on. She's like, come on, Amir, let's go. Let's leave the kids be. And I thought that was really, really cool. She picked up on it. Amir was completely oblivious. Oh, I actually do remember you. He was completely fooled.
Yeah, well, you know.
But his fiance saw it, and she was like, oh, let's let the kids be. I thought that was cute.
Yeah, I like that too. I mean, there's so much in it that really works well.
I really also like the fact that they brought you into the mosque and showed the family environment, because in most of popular TV and movies, mosques are like these dens of evil people plotting terrorism and blah, blah, blah. And so to bring it into like the familial environment of it, that's just a cultural center, I thought that was really, really cool to finally see a representation of a mosque in that way. You don't ever see that.
Yeah, although I did like that they were honest that, you know, the female section, you know, has mildew on the carpet, and you know, you don't see them, you don't see the men's section having all these problems. So that was cool. You know, the bathing area was again less for the women than for the men. So it's there was
form. It's true to form, you know.
But, you know, hopefully there's going to be change now.
Slowly. But
yes.
It is.
Yeah. And I like the fact that the sheikh is very, you know, he's not a mean guy. He's not a mean old guy. He is a guy who is just being a sheikh, being the leader of his people. And I think they did some very nice things with that.
The fact that she felt comfortable enough to speak up and say something, first of all, showed the environment was pretty cool. And then the way he handled it was not great, but, you know, not horrible.
Exactly. So, yeah, it's just, all in all, it was just a very good way to present these characters in these scenes and really tell the story. You know, her saving the kid, which was also really cool because and again, it is this idea that it's not overnight. It's not immediate. She is struggling, but she is risking her life as a real hero should, you know. The difficulty she has getting to him is there, and she gets him and saves him. And when he does fall, because she has that vision again, you know, she tries to reach him, misses, but then creates the landing pads for him on the way down to cushion his fall. So that's again, she's not perfect. She's learning, but she's still trying to be a hero and still accomplishing things, you know.
Not a bad first outing. Not a bad first outing at all.
Not at all. And I think that is really the point, is that there is so much that she is embracing and growing beyond. And that is what she has to do as a superhero. That's how you get to be a superhero, basically.
And so now after like the conversation, Kamran and his, hey, meet my mom, the conversation that she has there puts a whole different spin on how her mom was trying to keep her away from the bangle and keep her away from talking about great grandmother Aisha. And so it's like, oh, so she knew, especially when she says, I've been waiting a long time to meet you, Kamala. So she's been looking. And when Dad tells her, well, you're not normal, right? You're not normal. And I was like, wait a second. That's the kind of things you say to like superhero kids, like, hey, you have a responsibility kind of. That's the emotional timbre of that comment to me. That's what it felt like. So it's like, and turns out I think they do know, or maybe the dad doesn't know, but the mom definitely knows.
Yeah. Well, and what they know yet is up for debate.
Maybe the dad doesn't, because the way he's telling the story seems like he's comfortable with it. And she always said that she followed a trail of stars, and I was like, whoa, that's what she does. So the father had that power. So the father put the thing out, or did she put it out and was able to get to the ship? So who was the one that enacted it? Where did she get these powers from?
It's a very interesting set of questions. And,
yeah.
And honestly, you can have all kinds of fan theories at this point about who the powers actually come from. Do they come from the grandmother? Do they come from the father? Because, as what's interesting about it is in the comics, the entire idea was that it was inhuman DNA that was passed down on both their lines. So in both the mother and the father, there was this inhuman history. Now, are they going to pursue that? Is there more to it that we haven't seen yet? Probably, because we haven't seen it all yet. But
I love that they're talking about like Kingo. My mom has a crush on Kingo Senior, not Kingo Jr.
Oh yeah. Well, because, Kingo Senior was really much better looking than Kingo Jr. I mean, I think we can just all, none are as hot as the original great-grandfather, of course. He was, they don't make him like that anymore. Yes. I did, yeah, that was actually my favorite part of that was when they do start talking about Kingo and, who is not known to be a superhero yet, which I think is also very interesting in that
he's not?
That is not, no, as far as anyone knows, he's just a Bollywood actor.
Right. He wasn't there at the final battle, right?
Yeah, and that wasn't televised. So, I mean, people know that there's this gigantic marble celestial rising out of the ocean, but nobody knows why that's there.
Right. Somebody please address that eventually. Come on now.
Oh, they will. Oh, that's probably going to come up. It's probably going to come up in the Marvels. It's interesting that they didn't come up in Multiverse of Madness or Thor: Love and Thunder, but in both those cases, they were dealing with their own set of problems.
Right.
Really the Celestials, Earthbound Celestials are probably the least of our concerns at the moment. But, but I'm sure it's going to come up and probably it's going to come up in the She-Hulk film too. The She-Hulk series, because that is going to be about all of the legal questions that arise because of the things that have happened, So I think we might get some answers in She-Hulk and definitely get some answers in, and of course Black Panther, World of Wakanda, which is I believe the next film that's coming this year, which rumor has it has Namor in it. So,
and that they've taken on the mantle of Black Panther. Is that
we don't know yet. We don't know yet. We don't know what they're doing yet, but they are definitely focusing more on Shuri in this one. Whether or not she will become a Black Panther or not is up for debate. We'll have to see what they decide to do. They may just keep it light, and not be overt in what happened to the Black Panther. And because I actually think they may actually just decide to recast the Black Panther because, not for nothing you can,
Fair enough.
And,
yeah. Right.
And, honestly, you have, what's his name? Who played Killmonger? I'm blinking on his name all of a sudden.
Yeah.
Played Johnny Storm too. But, he's,
Michael
he
B.
would
Jordan.
be a great Black Panther. Michael B. Jordan. Michael B. Jordan would make a great Black Panther as well.
Right.
And you just have him grow a beard and get the accent right.
Right.
And you could pass it off,
Yeah, but I just think it'd be easier to just deal with it and say, like he ascended and somebody else has to take it. I think that'd be cleaner.
Yeah, I mean, that's an option. It is an option. Yeah. There's lots of ways you can do it, and the fact of the matter is that they do have some space to work with it, and what they're going to decide to do is what we're going to find out in a few months, because they are keeping it. I actually think they're keeping it very close to the vest, expressly because they probably are going to recast him. Because I think that if they were really like, they would let it be know that, how they would be dealing with it better, because they'd want to prepare people, I think. Right. But I think the idea of recasting him is the one that you want to just play a little closer to the vest. And, in all honesty, we may actually even see that happen with John Hurt's character in She-Hulk, if they bring in a new Thunderbolt Ross, possibly Sam Elliott, who played him in the Ang Lee version. So bringing in that new Thunderbolt Ross as one of the old actors is something they could theoretically do as well. So, there are ways you can do it. There's ways you can work around things in these situations. But we'll have to see what they decide to do. All right. Mozz, anything else you want to talk about tonight's episode?
Oh, yeah. Like when the whole Kamran situation took off, it felt really weird. Like, he's obviously like one of the more good looking people in the school. The most popular girl in school asked him out to come to her party, and he does this dramatic display of agility and prowess, and jumps into the pool and does a perfect little dive and whatnot. And then he comes over to like the awkward girl who's not really trying, and he comes and like starts flirting with her, gives her his nod, and I was like, man, that's really strange. And then you have Bruno reacting to it. I was like, oh man, I hope they don't make this guy all of a sudden to be a villain, because that's where it looks like it's heading. And can't she have a nice thing? Just let it, and like, screw Bruno, he'll get over it, and then lo and behold, he's evil. I was like, nuts.
Well, we'll have to see if he is evil. That's the thing. You think he is? Okay.
Yeah.
I think like a lot of things, there can be more than one answer, and it can be also a bit more complex than we think. That sometimes people can do evil, but it's not because they're evil. It's because this is what was necessary for the story to move forward, and this is what needed to happen. And like I said, I'm not going to say that. I'm not going to say what happens, but I'm going to say that it's always a little bit more complex than just good and evil. Like even evil auntie, Cameron's mother. There's more to her perspective than just
perhaps
being evil. But that's my opinion. But it's interesting to see how it grows and how the story concludes. I really enjoy watching these episodes. I like watching a superhero origin story. And, and it also reminds me a lot of what I liked about the original Ms. Marvel, which was, the original Ms. Marvel comics with Kamala, which was that it was very much, kind of like, classic Peter Parker. It was going to this kid, dealing with high school stuff, and how she balances being both a superhero and a high school kid, Yeah.
So, and then now getting the revelation of sort of like the story with the train and everything, and how they were talking about the partition, when Britain left India finally, and that whole situation. So now it makes me think that moment where she traveled back and it looked like either it was a war. So either it was like a metaphor for the partition, or that was the moment at that train station. So it was like, that's my two things of what that moment could have been.
Yeah. I mean, it's interesting what it is and what it's going to be, honestly. And at this point, there's a part of me that when I saw that train, I'm thinking, it's the Hogwarts Express, it's some kind of weird magical train. I don't know what it's going to be about this train, but I get the feeling it's magical in some way. And that's how it's going to tie into things.
That seems like it was the last train leaving to go to Pakistan after the partition. Otherwise, you were going to get left behind. And that's the moment where the Trail of Stars happened. So she's going back to that moment where that power was first manifested, I guess, or
yeah. I mean, that's as good a theory as any. Yeah. I don't want to say if you're right or wrong.
All right, yeah, I dig it.
No spoilers, man. Because right now, I know where it goes. And I'm not going to say you're right, and I'm not going to say you're wrong.
Dig it.
But I'm going to say it's pretty cool what they actually do with it all.
Oh, nice.
And I like how the story progresses and expands out. And, it's just in general, it's a good show. That is what I always come back to with this, is that it is actually a very good show. All right. Now, if you guys, let me ask, any final thoughts on tonight's episode before we go before we pay the bills, as we say?
Well, I'm almost wondering sort of like how far the damage control crew is, trying to go. Was that kid a plant? Are they creating these situations at Mozz to see if a superhero will rise up? I don't know. That maybe he's going too far, but that's the one other thought that I had. Yeah.
Well, one thing I will tell you that is interesting is that the kid stole Nakia's shoes. That's like one of these little Easter eggs people have pointed out. That.
How do you know was he wearing the shoes?
He was wearing Nakia. Yeah, he's wearing Nakia's shoes in that.
Oh, I did not catch that. That's interesting.
Yeah. Well, I guess you'd have to be like a real sneakerhead to catch it. I only know it because like other YouTubers have mentioned it. So
interesting.
He's the shoes.
And I do like the idea, the metaphor that social media is going to kill the kids. That's hilarious.
It is. Well, it's trying to get the dang selfie. It's like, don't lean out the window for a selfie. What are you doing, you crazy kid? Anyway, but fortunately, Ms. Marvel was there to save the day.
Yeah.
Yes. All right. So, folks, if you are enjoying Ms. Marvel, or even if you're not, and you want to let us know your thoughts, you can email them to us at CapesandLunatics, all spelled out, all one word, CapesandLunatics@gmail.com. You can call us and leave us a voice message, which we will play on the air if you like, at 614-382-2737. That's 614-38-CAPES. And if you go down into our show notes, click on our link tree. That's linktr.ee/CapesandLunatics. Go to our store, buy our merch, like these great t-shirts, cups, cell phone cases, and contribute to our Patreon because we need the money. And Mozz, if anyone would like to reach out to you directly to talk about all of this, how can they find you?
Well, they can email me at mozzmanzor@gmail.com or find me on Facebook under Mozz Manzor. That's MOZZMANZOOR.
And, of course, you can always write to me in that old-fashioned email way, the way our mothers and fathers once did, at superconnectivityblog@gmail.com. That's superconnectivityblog, all one word, at gmail.com. And follow me on the Twitter when I live tweet things when I feel like it, at Charlie Esser. That's CharlieEsser. Look for the two E's in the middle.
For quality. Ding.
Thank you, Mozz. All right, you filthy landlubbers. You have sailed with us across the Sea of Jersey City. And off we go now. Something like that. And as we head out, we ask you to come back again next week when we once again will sail full stream ahead.
Yeah.
Arr.